has ordered mass evacuation of Palestinians from the eastern half of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. The latest order suggests that Khan Yunis will be the next target of the Israeli forces as they thwart the regrouping attempts by Hamas militants.
Here we're going to look for a place to evacuate to. I've been displaced 6 times from Rafah. Allah is sufficient for us and He's the best disposer of affairs.
The evacuation orders come after about 20 rockets were launched from Khan Yunis area in one of the heaviest attacks in recent months. According to the IDF, Israel's Iron Dome air defence system shot down some of the rockets, while others landed in southern Israel. Authorities said there were no injuries or damage in the attack. Meanwhile, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced that Israel is nearing the elimination of what he described as Hamas's terrorist army. Speaking to cadets from the National Defence College, Netanyahu added that there will be a continuation of hitting Hamas's remnants in the Gaza Strip.
I returned yesterday from a tour of the Gaza division. I saw great achievements of fighting that is being carried out in Rafah. We are nearing the end of the elimination phase of Hamas' terrorist army. There will be a continuation of hitting its remnants.
Netanyahu's comments come as the Israeli army said that the troops operating in central Gaza over the past few months eliminated approximately 100 terrorists and destroyed more than 100 terrorist structures, weapons storage facilities and underground tunnel routes. In the latest, the IDF has claimed that it destroyed a kilometre-long tunnel in Gaza. The tunnel allegedly included branches which were used by Hamas militants to move between different locations underground. The Israeli army also released dozens of detained Palestinians, including Dr. Abu Salmiya, the director of Gaza's main hospital, who had been held for over 7 months without charges. However, Netanyahu criticised the decision as a grave mistake and has now ordered the creation of an interagency body to oversee future decisions to release detainees. Dr. Salmiya was arrested by the IDF troops in November on suspicion of having allowed Hamas to use the Gaza City hospital as a centre of operations. Meanwhile, Yemen's Houthi rebels on Monday said that they conducted 4 military operations targeting 4 ships in the Red, Arabian and Mediterranean seas, as well as the Indian Ocean, linked to the United States, the United Kingdom and Israel.
The Yemeni armed forces carried out 4 specific military operations targeting 4 ships belonging to the Americans, the British and the Israelis. The first operation was carried out with a number of cruise missiles targeting the Israeli ship MSC Unific in the Arabian Sea, and the hit was accurate and direct.
On the diplomatic front, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken says that he remains hopeful that a ceasefire proposal is still achievable between Israel and Hamas militants, further emphasising on how the 3-phased plan outlined by the US President Joe Biden would bring about the release of the remaining hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinians imprisoned in Israel.
That is seen as a... I think the proposal that President Biden put forward is achievable, doable, which doesn't mean it will be achieved, doesn't mean it will be done, but it can be and it should be. And what we saw after he put out the proposal is quite remarkable. We've seen virtually the entire world come together in support of that proposal. Country after country standing up saying, yes, we support this, this is the way forward.
Well, for more insight on this, our correspondent joins us live now from Rana now, Jodie Cohen. Many thanks for joining us, Jodie. Give us the latest from where you are on this dragging on conflict between Israel and Hamas.
Hi, Oliver. So Prime Minister Netanyahu has suggested that Israel is actually close to eliminating Hamas's army, and that's after the Israel Defense Forces said that they destroyed a 1-kilometre tunnel in central Gaza, and after they destroyed in Rafah the largest Islamic Jihad rocket production site that they have found so far. Netanyahu also said that the release of the Shifa hospital director from detention was an ethical mistake. He said that Israeli hostages were held and murdered in the hospital under the director's responsibility, security and that he belongs in prison, and Netanyahu has ordered a probe into how he was released. So that's the big news here today. Now, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that when this conflict ends, there must not be a leadership vacuum in Gaza, and according to reports, the IDF plans for humanitarian enclaves to be run by Palestinians unaffiliated with Hamas. Now, Blinken has said that intense efforts are being made to close the gaps that were created, he said, by Hamas on the hostage ceasefire deal, and he said that ultimately it will be up to Hamas to decide whether the war would continue.
Well, Jody, with Benjamin Netanyahu suggesting the war with Hamas is coming into its final stages, what's the latest on the tensions between Hezbollah and Israel?
Right, so barrages of rockets and explosive drones have continued from Hezbollah in Lebanon into communities in northern Israel, and the Israel Defense Forces have said that they've responded with strikes on Hezbollah targets. Now, the State Department has criticized the Arab League for revoking Hezbollah's designation as a terror organization and said that there's no question that Hezbollah remains a dangerous terror organization that's destabilizing the Middle East. Secretary of State Blinken said that the war may erupt on that front despite none of the sides actually wanting a war. So I'll break that down for you. In terms of Israel, Blinken suggested that Israel doesn't want war, would prefer to resolve things diplomatically, but that would mean Hezbollah going back to the UN-recognized boundaries. Now, in terms of Hezbollah and Lebanon, he said that they don't want a war because they would be the primary victims. And in terms of Iran, he said that Iran doesn't want a war because they would prefer to save Hezbollah's strength, he implied, for any future direct conflict between Iran and Israel. And Blinken said that the best way to end the attacks by Hezbollah and also the Houthis is actually, they believe, by Hamas agreeing to the hostage truce proposal.
Okay, thanks you for that, Jody, for that insight. Joining us live, our correspondent Jody Cohen from Ranana.